Can you guys hear me over Discord now?
David, if I put my deck here,
I
can you
can't
see
hear
my deck,
anything.
David?
I don't see your deck.
Okay,
I
cool.
mean, no, it's not my most major concern either. So you can see a corner of mine, right?
All right, hey Adrian and David, why don't you guys go ahead and start your game, and we'll talk to you when we're done.
All right.
Right,
Well,
sounds
see
good.
you first.
Yeah,
Go
we'll
ahead and see.
do high roll. We can do high roll.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Versus System 2PCG, the Quarantine Cup, Round 5. My name is Mark, and I'm a project manager with Upper Deck, and I am joined by Caleb, aka C-Stacks. Caleb, good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on again. Really cool to do this.
Absolutely. Well, the Quarantine Cup is your creation, so just in case somebody here has not seen this before, why don't you go ahead and let everybody know what this is all about?
Yeah, Quarantine Cup is just an online video chat tournament we're running. It's a free event with a variety of different formats we're playing. So this is round 5 of the Quarantine Cup, and we're doing the Ladies' Night, I've been calling it. Female Fight Night is another name for it, where all your characters have to be ladies. Yeah, it's just a cool online event we're doing. We did Cosmic Battles. We did For Fox's Sake, where you can play only Fox cards. Top 8 is going to be the current featured format, which is Good versus Evil, and it's been pretty cool so far.
Yeah. I was actually looking at her.
And this for round 5 and round 6, you guys are doing which?
Mortal Death herself. She gets +1/+1 character.
Did you say which format?
Yeah, well, which format are you doing?
Yeah, this is the Female Fight Night. All your characters have to be ladies.
All right, perfect. And let's see, Adrian is going to be running Madam Hydra, and David's got himself Death.
Yep, Mr. Death.
Two very different setups here. What would we expect to see out of a Death?
Okay.
So Death loses. She loses Cypher on 1, but she still has Emma Frost to fill up her KO pile. And I don't remember if Supergiant is a boy or girl, but she still has some stuff she can use to fill up her KO pile and get real big. So I expect to see stuff like Emma Frost in there, and anything that'll dump stuff in the KO pile.
And Supergiant is female. What about
I expect Madam Hydra is a great ramp deck. You can do some pretty gross things with the 2-cost Mantis character to feed into your resource row and really ramp hard with Madam Hydra. So we could see a fair amount of ramp into some high drop characters here. She's also a pretty good combo enabler since you can play cards from your resource row as well as from your hand. You have a lot of resources to work with. So we could potentially see something like the Valkyrie Black Widow machine gun combo. Pretty much everything required for that combo is a lady, being Valkyrie, Black Widow, potentially Sharon or Agent Carter, Sharon Carter on 2. So we could see something like that, but definitely going to see a lot of ramp, I would say, from Madam Hydra.
It looks like so far we've gotten David to drop a dinosaur. And I'm trying to tell which character that is on Hadrian's side.
It was a Slingshot.
Slingshot? Yeah, because you just did the yo-yo.
Yep. So it looks like digging for some kind of combo piece, I would assume. So I would imagine we're going to see something kind of cool combo out of Madam Hydra.
Playing a resource.
Two face on resources so far.
Yeah, it's not great, although, I mean, that doesn't have any superpowers printed on her, so...
That's true. She kind of runs almost by herself. She just gets bigger as the game goes on.
Yeah. So we're seeing a Wasp in there. Power up the Wasp, okay. So Death is a 3/3 right now, I believe. She's just going to get bigger and bigger as the game goes on.
And with 5 cards in hand, I will pass turn.
So Death starts on the... Which side does she start on? So she starts on the Infinite Wound side. If a player would draw 1 or more cards, they draw that many +1. So these guys are both drawing 3 cards a turn.
Yeah, it's the unique thing about Death is she's either helping both players or hurting both.
Right, yep.
I'm gonna play Mantis.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So there's the Mantis.
There's the Mantis.
Yep.
Go
We're gonna
into
see a lot of that card
Dinosaur.
this round, I think. If it goes well for Madam Hydra, you want to see a lot of
Yeah,
Mantis.
that's fine. So I'm gonna rebirth.
Yep, for the trade with Dinosaur, which feels pretty good.
Pass to you.
Okay. Drawing 3.
So Wasp is a 2/3 right now, right? Which one?
Correct. Gonna play a resource. I'm gonna play Cleo for 3.
Yeah.
And
You got a
since I
Cleo?
get to draw 2.
Ooh, a Klee. Yep.
That's fine.
Bringing that card out early feels great. So that's a 6-cost character, but if all your resources are face down, you can play her for 3 less. So she's coming out as a 3-cost 5/5 that lets you draw a card, which is really, really good. That's a great card. Doesn't see a whole lot of play, but it's a really good card.
I'm gonna say
I imagine actually we could also see that from this Madam Hydra list because she wants to play only face down resources, which just means that Klee's always going to come out early, which is great.
I have nothing.
So what are
swinging
the
it-
odds? What are the odds that that Death is running an entire deck with no characters that have superpowers?
That would be interesting actually. You lose access to Cipher, which is one of the few things that you really want that uses a superpower and Death. So pretty high. It's possible. I could totally see that.
Gain an XP.
So 4th resource for Madam Hydra here. I believe there's 1 wound on Madam Hydra. Took a wound from getting smacked by Klee last turn. Or Clea, I don't know how you say that character.
Clea.
Clea.
That would be friend to Doctor Strange.
We're gonna agent.
There's a slingshot again.
Leave that on top.
Put it back on top.
Then
A Sharon Carter here would be great. You get to draw an extra card.
Okay.
A Clea, though.
Another
There we go.
Clea.
Another Clea. Yep. Drawing 2 cards. That's so good. I forgot about that last turn. David got to draw an extra card with Clea as well. Really good in a Death
How
deck.
much is she?
She's a 3/3.
I'm gonna power up wall.
So looks like probably baiting out the Shrink. He's gonna power up.
To make her
Wasp.
3/4 now.
Just get that Death bigger and bigger.
That's fine.
That's a 4th character in
He
the
goes
KO
ahead
round.
and takes the KO.
Yeah. Not great. You don't love having to KO your slingshot. That card can be valuable more and more as the game goes along. And then
I
Thea's
can't
going to
again.
try to take down that Wasp, I think.
I can only swing on that first combat.
Baited out
so
the
that would
Shrink.
be good.
Alright.
I can only swing on the first combat.
So I think there's 5 characters in KO piles,
Alright, so I'll pass to you then.
Okay, drawing 3.
which makes Death a 7/7 already. It's pretty beefy already.
For those of you that are just joining us, this is the Versus System 2PCG Quarantine Cup Round 5. We've got Adrian on the left and David on the right. Adrian is running Madam Hydra, and David is running Death. This is the female fight night, so all characters have to be female.
12 and draw 13.
And there's Super
How
Giant.
many characters are in there?
Yep. That card is so good in a Death deck.
How many total characters you have?
See,
Yeah.
looks like he targeted his opponent.
8.
Okay, so and plus my 4, so I'm
Yep.
12. That's 12 in the
Yep,
graveyard.
Death just gained 12/12.
And then Black
Yeah,
and
so
White.
what Super Giant, of course, does is she's got, I think, Mind Games is the name of the power. You pick a player to discard their entire hand and draw the same number of cards, which plays right into what Death wants, which is to put as many characters in KO piles as possible,
And then Black Order's
because she
gonna
gets
kick
+1
off.
+1 for each character in any KO pile. So,
What kind of equipment?
That was a lot of cards that just got dumped in there. Not sure how many characters, but a lot, I would think.
Well, Adrian said that he dropped 8 characters, and then there was already 4 in David's deck. So plus 12, plus 12. So even all that drawing that Adrian was doing actually came back to bite him.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
If you don't mind, real quick, can you run through?
So he dumped 8 characters in there.
Yeah.
Plus he had 1 in there already, so that's 9. Plus I believe 4 for David. Makes 13.
Yeah. So I have
Unless I'm wrong. Okay, yeah, they're gonna put them all out here,
Sharon Carter,
so we know.
Top Mantis, Sharon Carter, Satana, Jessica Jones, Mantis, and then the rest are.
Also,
Yeah,
can't
just
forget that mandatory Black Order trigger,
Okay.
which is what they just did.
Okay. Move. Okay, that's all. Okay, moving Death to the front row.
Yeah, so that's a big old death now. There's no Cosmo in this format to bring Mistress Death down to size, so you're gonna want to see something like a Nullifier, or
So we're gonna send.
if you can stay alive to drop a Dark Phoenix and call keywords, that'll do it. But till then, it's gonna be tough
Okay.
trying to deal with this death.
Nope.
I'll shock her.
Okay, that give me -3. All right, they're gonna be good. And then I'm gonna send Death into clear.
Okay, so shock there.
And Death is how big?
Death is going to head for Cleo. Clea.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it looks like he was trying to go for the trade with the Clea, but we saw the shock there.
So I'll draw
So we can't get to Madam Hydra this turn.
3.
Couple interesting playmats out there. The one on the right that David is using is actually a newly released playmat from us. It's on our web store or at stores near you.
That's fair.
We also have ourselves some new Spider-Man sleeves that are available. These are non-game specific, so you can use them with your versus decks or with your favorite games.
Yeah, they're absolutely awesome. I love that mat. That's one of my favorite Spider-Man arts.
Yeah, it's an impressive image.
Yeah. Let's play Clee. Draw 2 cards.
Another Clea. Drawing an extra card there still.
I'm gonna play Mantis.
And a Mantis.
I'm gonna enter combat. I'm gonna have Mantis go into Lady Death.
Okay.
So Rebirth.
Yeah.
I'll have Clee go into Supergiant.
So Adrian's already up to 6 resources.
Yeah, I hope he is on some kind of combo. He'll need something like an infinite Black Widow machine gun to bring down that death. That would be a good way to do it. I didn't see what all characters he dumped. That would have given us a good insight into what kind of end game he might be pushing towards, but I missed it.
I remember seeing, I think there was a Carter in there. There may have been a, I'm not sure if there was a Fitzsimmons in there, if that's allowed.
Yeah, I saw Fitzsimmons in there, so there's definitely agents in there, which a lot of times when you see agents, it's to try to dig for combo pieces, so.
I'm gonna start by playing Misty Knight. So you have to reveal your hand.
Misty Knight. Okay, so we're gonna get to look at his hand here, which there's a lot of cards in his hand. So
okay.
this will give us an idea.
Clea out of the way real quick.
Yeah.
I'll do everything.
Okay. More agents.
I have a lot of cards.
Agent. Oof. 2 Scarlet Witch, which is dead in this matchup.
There's a 3rd Scarlet Witch.
That's tough. Those are all dead cards against Mistress Death, who does not need to level up. And a lot of agents in there. I just saw a lot of agents and Dark Phoenix, so maybe this is just trying to ramp to Dark Phoenix, which I mean could be enough. You just call keywords and Death gets cut down to size. So maybe that's just his approach here.
And I'm gonna play a Dinosaur.
And nothing wrong with that. Dark Phoenix wins games. May as well.
And we'll get a
Absolutely.
to my Clea.
Another Clea. That's the 3rd or 4th Clea we've seen.
Hold on.
Drawing 2 cards every time she comes down.
Actually, no, I'm gonna give it to Super Giant. I take that back. I'm giving it to Super Giant.
So she's a 4/6.
Yes.
For everybody that's in the chat across the different
Clea?
websites, thank you for joining us.
Anything?
No.
I'll shock.
Okay.
I'll play another shock.
We're gonna say a Super Giant into Clea.
Super Giant's coming in.
Sure.
Yeah, he's desperately trying to get to that Madam Hydra.
The call. Yeah. I think he knows the longer this game goes, the more in danger he is of Madam Hydra's just ramping into that end game. Must really need to start putting the wounds on.
Sure. I'll get it too.
Yeah, that's the thing. Once she levels up, she's going to be able to start recruiting characters from the resource road. So we have no idea what he's got hidden down.
There's at least 2 Mantis in there, which is, if he can start recruiting Mantis from the KO pile, it's just going to snowball, because you'll get to ramp with the Mantis itself, and it also replaces itself when it comes out. So every Mantis is actually ramping you for 2, and there's a level 2 Madam Hydra.
And
So
there she is, level 2.
So,
she's a
7.
she's a
So I'm going
what,
to
4/8?
4/8, yeah.
And picking up that resource row. I think here we go.
Nexus in chat, yes, Supergiant is in fact
We're gonna bring
female.
out Melinda May, so we're gonna resolve Secret
Okay.
Empire.
So there is Melinda
And
May,
then we're gonna agent.
which I think is coming out as a 3 cost. It's either
I could stay there.
coming out as either
So she's a 3 cost because I have 2 wounds.
a 2 or a 3 cost. I'm not sure how many wounds are on Madam Hydra. It's a great card though.
Mana left. So we're gonna play Mantis.
And a
we're gonna
Mantis,
resolve Secret
which will
Empire.
replace itself, and then go back to the resource row, which is great.
So that's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. So I have 2 left.
Now he starts digging into his resource row.
All right, let's think here.
He's got something like 13, 14 cards in his hand right now.
Yeah,
Plus
he's
his resource row.
Yeah, it was the one thing about Death is it was certainly helping him to draw through all those cards.
Fitzsimmons.
Okay.
All right, so Fitzsimmons comes down and agents for 3. We went ahead and made Fitzsimmons legal. I had considered, because people were asking, I was like, well, it's
So
2
I'm gonna
characters,
Fitzsimmons
one is
on,
female, so I considered making it like half a card, like instead of
Yeah.
2 agents, it's just 1 agent. Instead of 2 health, it's 1 health, and she only gets 1 of the superpowers, but
It's at the bottom.
that just seemed like so much work to me. So we just said Fitzsimmons is legal.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. This is all just for fun anyway, so why not
Let's have
just
Mantis go
keep it
to
legal and see what happens.
Yeah.
Dinosaur.
I thought the half a card thing seemed fun, but it's a lot to manage.
So I'm gonna rebirth.
Yeah.
So Mantis and a dinosaur and then Rebirth to put it back into the
Super
resource.
Giants, a
Yeah, it's a great card. One of the great cards from the base set that has just
Melinda
seen a
May
lot of
and
longevity.
Team attack for 8.
I have nothing. I don't be
Looks
going
like maybe a
back and
team
forth
attack
with me.
into Super Giant. I can't imagine that's enough to get Mistress Death, so probably Super Giant.
Let's
Yep.
go to 5.
Yeah, and David said he wasn't able to counter anything about that, so Supergiant leaves the.
You.
Okay. Going 3.
Which I'm sure he's fine with. Everything that dies is power for Death.
Gonna play a resource. I got 6.
Yeah, it looks unless he's just bricked on locations. It looks like maybe the idea here isn't to use any superpowers. It's just to stick with your really powerful keyword powers and make Death as big as possible. Because we haven't seen any locations yet.
And another Supergiant. He just discarded 14 cards.
Oh gosh. And at least one of them was a Dark Phoenix. So Dark Phoenix could just come down and win the game for Adrian, but if he ends up discarding all of his copies and can't get one, it's not going to do him any good.
Would you try and run all 4 copies? In a deck?
Usually no. You only play usually about 2 copies of Dark Phoenix. I mean, the only reason I would think he would want to play more is if he knew he was going to play against something like Death that's going to rip his hand apart. But if he wasn't prepared for this matchup, he's probably only playing 2, maybe 3 copies of Dark Phoenix, which could bite him in the butt here.
1.
Death is looking at a plus 28.
Oh, and the Black Order trigger actually hits a nullifier. Very nice. That might be his only
that
target
might
in
be
this
it.
deck.
Wow. He called out Secret Empire for the nullifier.
Oof. That's tough. That's really, really tough. Yep, that could just be it. So Misty Knight's gonna take a shot at Fitzsimmons. It's a pretty safe attack. And then I don't think
Taking away the character.
Madam Hydra can dodge this turn.
So that's the female one, Simmons.
Okay.
And then Death into Madam Hydra.
Yeah, I'll go to 3. That's fine.
And Madam Hydra takes the 3rd wound.
Half turn.
Yep.
Okay, so draw 3.
Yeah.
1.
That nullifier sitting there on a plus 28 death.
Everybody face up.
It's gonna be a tough go of it. Not sure how many resources he's sitting on here. And there's a chance he doesn't even have a Dark Phoenix left to play.
Yeah, I can't see his deck or his discard pile, so I don't know how far he's gone through that deck. If he may have gone through the entire thing.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many resources you have?
I have 8. I'm gonna put my 9th resource down right now.
Okay.
All right, so Adrian just said he's putting down his 9th resource.
9th. Okay, so we could see Dark Phoenix here, which could really swing the tide of this game significantly. I feel like he probably would have slammed it if he had it already. He's
Yeah,
considering
you would think
a
he
lot.
would have gone pretty heavy in.
Yeah.
Wait. Yeah, that's fine. Let's pay that resource. We're gonna put the reality gem on Madam Hydra.
A power
Reality
gem.
gem. Reality gem.
That's reality. Okay, that's right. Reality is the one for red. Turns
Main
cards
phase,
up or
pair up,
down.
Choose 1. Turn up to 1 card on each side facing up, or turn
That'll get
up
rid
to
of the
1 card on
nullifier.
each side
It's not going to make death any smaller though. She'll lose the 1+1 counter, but
I have 3 mana left.
Yeah, but at least gets rid of the nullifier, so she
Yes.
can, so Madam Hydra can start doing the Secret Empire.
We're
yeah,
gonna
absolutely.
play Jessica Jones.
Okay.
And
There
just
could be. Yep, Jessica Jones. That'll protect you a little bit for now, at least.
Okay.
There's also the potential. I hadn't considered this. That there's a Dark Phoenix in the resource row.
I'm gonna turn Death face down.
Okay.
That would have been a smart play earlier. Was to if you know that Supergiant's on the deck, which obviously you do, row a Dark Phoenix because it's safe there. It can't be hit by Supergiant in the resource row, and your Madam Hydra, you can recruit it from the resource row. So it would have been very smart to put a Dark Phoenix in there early.
Turn up to 1
So we'll have to
card on
see.
each side face up.
Okay, up to 1 card. Okay. Okay. No problem. Okay.
So now that Death has flipped, she now has the Cosmic Balance.
Misty Knight.
So when a player recruits a supporting character, they put -1/-1 counters equal to its defense divided as they choose across enemy supporting characters.
2/6, right?
3/5. Yeah, 3/5 with 2 health.
So let's have Melinda May go into Supergiant for 6.
Okay.
Taking out Supergiant again. Put a wound on him.
Lady Death is now on 1/1, correct?
No, she still keep the counters. She still got Death herself.
Yeah, she never loses Death herself, so she was going to be at 28 plus the entire game.
Yep.
That's incredible.
So now I'm just really curious if Adrian has a Dark Phoenix in his resource row, because that would have been a really smart move in playing around Supergiant.
For those of you just joining us, welcome to the Versus System 2PCG Quarantine Cup Round 5. We've got Adrian running Madam Hydra on the left and David running Death on the right. This is the Female Fight Night format where all characters have to be female.
Okay, so not sure how many resources that is for David here. I've seen a domino.
That's 7. He said he had a stack of 5 and then 2 extra.
Okay.
Now we have
-1 on Melinda May.
That's a great card, domino. Love that card.
Okay.
I'm gonna put 3 on Jessica Jones.
She's got very high defense
Okay,
too,
stay
which
up.
means that death trigger
And then I'm gonna put a
is really good. It's gonna take out
and then I'm gonna put
Melinda May
one,
and
I'm
put some
gonna
extra counters on Jessica Jones.
I'm gonna put another one on I'm putting
Actually, I believe that's a wound on Jessica Jones because he had
Yeah,
4
because
extra
of
counters.
toughness.
So.
Yeah, so
Yep. So
he went ahead and
she's
took the wound and then put the extra counter on it.
I'm also gonna play dagger. So I'm gonna put 2 -1.
Oh, and now he's got dagger out, so he's not getting -1 counters.
that is great. And
then I'm
is that
putting a
mandatory?
3 on her.
Yes. So cosmic balance is mandatory, which means he has to choose. He has to choose a character to put those -1s on, and dagger's going to turn them into +1s.
Going to combat.
Great card in conjunction with death.
Fitzsimmons. And then I'll put that 3 more counters for me. Sorry, so 6. And then we're gonna send depth into Madam Hydra.
Okay, I'll go to 4. Shuffle the
All
gem
right.
back into the deck.
Shuffling that reality stone back into his
2,
deck.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards in hand.
I believe that is a 4th wound on Madam Hydra. It's a moment of truth. Does he have the Dark Phoenix?
Okay, and you draw.
Because it's
draw 2
looking
now.
very rough right now for Adrian, but Dark Phoenix could swing the tide.
Is that the last 2 in your deck?
Yes, it is.
And he just drew out his entire deck. Last 2 cards in the deck.
So it's got to be in his hand or in his row. I think the chances are pretty high.
So let's turn her face up.
We'll see if he was clever enough to put it in the row.
All right, let's see here.
I'm thinking the only reason he didn't really use it last time was because he was figuring that Madam Death was going to drop down and lose all her counters.
Mm-hmm.
So unless he has it, unless it was in those last 2 cards.
Well, last turn he was under nullifier, and he got rid of the nullifier.
I have a ruling question.
No, looks like he doesn't have it. He looks a little flustered.
I can recruit from my resource row, but I have to replace a card from the top of my deck. If I have no cards in deck, I can't activate Secret Empire.
You can still play. You use as much of it as you can.
Okay.
So he had a question about whether or not he had to replace the card with Secret Empire, even though his deck was run out. You do as much as you can.
Right.
So he would wind up taking it, but he wouldn't have to replace it, but then he would be down
Down
for the
resource.
later rounds.
Put that down.
I'm sure if he didn't put a Dark Phoenix in that resource row, he could just kick himself now for not doing that when he had it.
Yeah, either if he didn't have it or he just never got to it and just burned through it.
Yeah, I know he
So-
discarded at least one, which has to feel bad.
I'm gonna recruit from my resource row. Dark Phoenix.
There it is.
she
He had it in the
is.
row. He had it.
He had it.
Plus and minus counters.
All right.
Okay.
I'm just gonna assume he's calling keywords.
Yeah, actually, he said something about plus counters. So yeah, I think he just called keywords.
Yeah, death does. They're not counters. It's just static. So if he's calling keywords here, that could be it for death.
She still got
Was pretty much ahead the whole game, but it's gonna be tough now.
Those aren't counters?
No, they just +1/+1 for each character.
Yeah, no, he called counters.
I'm just gonna scoop.
He called counters.
He called counters.
Yeah, death does not have counters. Oof.
Yeah.
But if he calls keywords,
No levels.
He deletes everything,
He
including
deletes
dagger,
everything,
including.
but wouldn't also
including,
affect himself.
It would, yeah. He wouldn't be able to recruit from his row anymore, but it also kind of just wins him the game. I think the upside is significant if you call keywords.
Go into,
Huh?
Have DP go into Supergiant have any wounds right now?
1,
She's got 3 health, right?
2.
Alright, so let's have DP go into Supergiant.
That's gonna be good.
Yeah, he attacked Supergiant.
No,
I guess maybe he
yeah.
called counters.
Let's see how this goes.
Okay, so
I think I'm okay.
drawing 2.
Wow.
So that 8 resources.
Okay.
Gonna play Moonstone.
Sure.
6 left.
All right, Moonstone.
Gonna play Dark Star.
Sure.
Dark Star
4 left.
is an 8/8. It's a good card. I wonder if Adrian has a second Dark Phoenix somewhere to kind of maybe correct this.
Well, if he's down to 1 health,
Why not just play
is
these?
he going to have enough there?
Okay.
Is he on
I
1 wound
probably,
left?
I thought so. I thought he only had 1 wound left. Oh no, she's got 6. Maybe he's got 2 more.
Yeah, I think he's got 2 to give.
yeah.
That's a wound he didn't really need to take if he'd called keywords. I think it was a
Yeah, we're gonna
miscalculation
say
on.
Death to Dark Phoenix.
Yeah.
How many resources do you have?
8.
So Dark Star's an 8/8?
Yes.
Newt.
So Death is going
That is
to
not a card I
Dark Phoenix?
expected to see.
Okay, that's fine. Anything?
No.
That's fine.
And then I'm gonna send Domino into Madam Hydra.
Yeah, so stunning Dark Phoenix, I assume just by piling those counters on
Nothing.
Okay.
from the cosmic balance power on
Down to 2.
death there.
Okay, so I'll go to 5.
And then there's wound number 5 on Madam Hydra.
That's wound number 5, yeah.
Okay, so I don't draw.
Okay.
Well,
And you have how many resources? 9 still.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah.
Okay.
He still has 9 resources.
Okay.
If he has another Dark Phoenix, he can maybe pull it out.
I'm gonna play this face down.
Okay.
I'm in a Secret Empire.
Okay.
A second.
Yep. Okay. So he has a
There's
second
the other one. Okay.
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 So we can course correct here if we call
Okay,
counters.
he dies.
He just called keywords.
Keywords. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
But being down to 1 health.
Yeah, you took a wound there you didn't necessarily have to take, and now you have to get to fight through
Okay,
8
drawing.
total wounds on death here. So we'll see.
Yep, she just took another one, so she's back down to her human side.
Playing a resource. Oh, sorry, Radiant.
So David's up to 9 resources.
Playing Dark Phoenix as well.
Now we're gonna see the downside
another
of
Dark Phoenix.
She's blank though because she doesn't have any keyword powers. She's just big. We're gonna see the potential downside of this death deck here in that it doesn't really have any superpowers it seems to be aiming for. So all his cards are kind of just blank now.
So he's just hoping to overpower Madam Hydra with numbers.
Okay.
Yep. You got to push through that 15 defense on Dark Phoenix first though, which is gonna be tough for both sides now. Both sides have a Dark Phoenix they're staring down.
And David is passed.
Yeah, and we're playing with no time limit, so we'll see what happens here. Adrian is locked in with his resources. He has no more cards left in his deck to draw from. So what he's got is what he's got.
So
Who knows?
Yeah, Nexus and Chad, this is going to be a close game.
Interesting. Okay. Jessica Jones. I have 9 mana. Yeah. I think I can.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder. I wonder if they're at a stalemate.
You have 8 health. That's a problem.
Yeah, for those of you just joining us, this is the Verse System 2PCG Quarantine Cup Round 5. We got Adrian on the left running Madam Hydra. He's down to 1 health remaining. He does not have a deck, and he's played 2 Dark Phoenixes called Keywords and Counters. So there's no keywords and no counters left in the game. And then you've got David on the right, who's running Death. I believe he's only taken 1 health, 1 hit. And this is going to be an interesting game to see how this pans out.
So Build Phase in the chat is trying to make the point that calling counters first is correct, because then you don't you play around Dagger that way. But I think calling keywords deletes Dagger, it deletes Cosmic Power, it deletes Death herself. I don't think Death would have, or I don't think Dagger would have triggered in the first place if you'd call keywords. I could be wrong on that, though. I don't know the timing on Recruit versus Appears versus Dagger or whatever.
Oh boy. Okay. Let's just play Satana, I guess.
who's that?
Satana.
Okay.
So we see Satana.
Let's have Jessica Jones go into Jessica Jones.
Okay, mutual stun.
Okay,
Yeah.
trading with Jessica Jones. Okay.
And we'll team into DP.
Okay. Okay, so Satana gives you the team attack
Okay, how much
on
that
Dark
is?
Phoenix. It would be great if she had the lethal,
16.
but no keywords. But that's
gonna
a
be
strong
good.
team attack. Okay.
And he takes it. He'll take
Yep.
that wound.
Go ahead.
Trades with Satana though. So he still has to push through Dark Phoenix at least one more time. So he's got a fistful of cards. So I wonder if there's another Satana in there.
Yeah, David has a slight advantage because he still has a deck that he's pulling out of, so we have no idea what else he's got hidden.
Yeah, he can draw into more answers, whereas Adrian here is he's got a fistful of cards, but it's dwindling down every turn. He's got nothing else coming in.
Yeah, he's already played 2 Dark Phoenixes. We know he discarded 1. So if he had a 4th one, he would have played it by now, but maybe he's waiting.
Play a resource.
10th resource for David.
So 10 on the let me.
Trying to think of what he could play at this point that can get him around this 15 defense on Dark Phoenix. I think it would have to be some kind of Femme Fatale team attack, like we saw from Adrian last turn. There's a Clea. Okay, 1 drop. Is that card called Magma? Something like that?
Yes.
Again, all these cards are blank. They're all just keyword guys.
Yeah, I was curious whether or not he was building a deck with just keywords and no superpowers, because he wasn't showing any cards, any locations.
Resource.
Which is interesting to see in any deck outside of Madam Hydra. Interesting to see that. Okay, Dark Phoenix in the back and a bunch of guys up front. 3 flyers up front to work around. Although I wonder if maybe he just made Adrian's job a lot easier by moving Dark Phoenix to the back. And another one of his flyers to the back.
And we'll pass turn.
And he's passing his turn.
Yep, I think he might have just made this easier for Adrian.
3-1.
So you have 2 flyers in front?
Yes.
Okay. So Jessica Jones has a wound. No draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Adrian still has 9 resources.
We're gonna play Melinda May.
Okay, Melinda May.
And Mockingbird.
And a Mockingbird.
So is the trick going to be trying to take out the 2 flyers so that he can leapfrog Dark Phoenix into the back?
Absolutely, I think that's the move. I think you just try to keep pressure on the main character at this point.
We're gonna have Mockingbird go get Jessica Jones.
Yeah, he's targeting the flyers.
Trade with Jessica Jones.
May go get Clee.
Okay.
And then I believe that's also a trade with Clea. And then I just get in there and hit death.
Yeah.
And then you can take out something else with Jessica, may as well.
Let's have DP go get Moonstone.
He's sending DP into Moonstone.
We'll have Jessica Jones get Lady Death.
And then Jessica Jones after Lady Death. And that's
second wound.
The next wound on death.
Yeah, it seems he didn't want to trade with that Jessica Jones, so by Jessica Jones into death is pretty safe. So, although you can, I wonder if he gets. You can wound death multiple times in a turn because she's never truly face down.
That's very true.
So that's what I would have done. I wonder if he doesn't realize that death is never considered to be stunned. She's just on one side or the other. So you can hit her multiple times.
Yeah, she's the unique because she's got an infinite infinite health on one side and 8 on the other. So you're constantly having to hit her multiple times. But because she's never face down, you can do that.
Yep.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
So I think when you have the opportunity to hit her multiple times, you take it. That's a huge swing and advantage when you take advantage of that. Especially because he's for some reason he's putting that Dark Phoenix in the back row, which I think there she's going back up front.
I think he's running out of flyers. Oh no, wait, no, he's thinking about it, but I think he's running out of flyers. Mm-hmm. Adrian just said I believe he's got 9 or 10 cards in hand.
Okay.
And those are his last 10 cards.
And then
is there a reason you wouldn't want to put pretty much as many people up front as you could to protect death?
At this point, no, not that I can think of. No.
Misty Knight into no.
I mean, yeah, none of these cards do anything. I think you just try to protect death.
Yeah,
hopefully he's drawing towards some kind of win condition. I can't imagine what it would be at this point though. There's no Sentry in this format. Sentry would be great.
Yeah, he just wounded Jessica Jones one more time and then passed.
All right, so now Adrian has to try to push through this Dark Phoenix again somehow. If he has another Satana, that would be great. Checking that resource row. Can't use it though.
It looks like the only team up that he's got in the front row there is Melinda May and Mockingbird.
Yeah, that makes 11, which is not enough. Jessica Jones and Clea makes 9. That's tough.
man, this is so rough. Man. Okay. Yikes. Okay. Oh man. Okay. Let's think.
And how many cards in hand now?
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
And Adrian's down to 9 cards in hand. Still trying to decide what he wants to do. He's got 1 health left on Madam Hydra.
Okay. That's fine.
And he needs to hit death
3 mana
a lot.
At least 6 more times, and if she lands on the infinite side, 1 additional time.
Say that. Sharon Carter.
Sharon Agent Carter makes only 1 additional attack on that shield team attack, which still is not enough.
Let's see a way out. Let's see. She would be dead. I'm gonna have Sharon Carter shoot Newt.
Okay.
Sharon Carter into Newt.
Let's go. Let's have Clea go into Jessica Jones.
Okay.
I guess
Clea
he's
into
gonna
Jones.
pick off these other guys here.
Yeah, he's just trying to whittle things down so he can hopefully.
Alright, so
You would think that if he had something else to play in order to take out that Dark Phoenix, he would.
Yeah, now would be the time.
Melinda.
Okay.
Yeah, DP and Melinda. He's just trying to whittle down David's side.
I'll pass turn to you, man.
Drawing 2.
And back down to David.
Resourcing.
Mhm.
12.
Yeah, there's no time limit on this, so we're just going to keep playing until somebody wins.
Yep. I wonder.
So we're just going to see what's going on.
Because we're kind of in a stalemate type situation here. I wonder what's going to happen.
Go ahead, Magma, shoot at Jessica Jones.
Yeah, just going to pick off his board a little bit. Could hit Mockingbird, could hit Jessica Jones.
That's fine.
Yeah, he's going after Jones.
JJ takes her last hit. It's a great custom playmat Adrian has too. I like all the comic book panels on there.
Melinda May.
I would try to hit take out all the shield people to minimize the potential of a team attack that they could do. I don't foresee that happening anyway, but
Melinda May into Melinda May.
Sure.
Yep. So Melinda May takes her last hit.
And Clea into Mockingbird.
Sure.
And Dark Phoenix into Clea.
Sure.
Wow, that was a clean. That was a lot.
Yeah.
All right, back to Adrian. He's got himself 9 cards in hand. He's going to have 9 resources.
I'm going to play my 10th resource for no reason.
Okay.
I'm just playing a resource for no reason.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's lost the keyword, so he can't use Secret Empire. So it's whatever he's got in hand.
I mean, you got it. I can't do anything. Dark Phoenix.
I wonder if at some point I'm gonna have to step in here as the TO because I think they're kind of at a stalemate situation. But
yeah, actually, Adrian just has decided to scoop.
Yeah, did he? Okay.
In order to crack her.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, because he's only got whatever cards he's got left, and he's He's got more wounds. So
So I was just
Yep,
like,
seems
if I
right.
don't have
Okay,
another
we're gonna go ahead
agent
and unmute.
and I
We're gonna
can't
join
crack
these
her
guys. We're
15,
gonna find
there's
out
no way I win this game.
what they were
Yeah,
thinking, what
that's-
happened.
I was
A little bit of
surprised when
insight.
you moved her to the back row. I was surprised you did that.
Well, I just had to make sure you didn't have another one of them female fatale.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
like
but
I
I had literally my entire deck is in my discard pile. All you had to do was ask.
yeah, I know, but like I said, she had 8 wounds, so I'm like, I could buy time.
Yeah.
Hey guys,
Hey,
can you hear us?
yes.
All right. Good game to both of you. Congrats, David, on the win. Actually, I want to start with Adrian first. Why Madam Hydra?
Madam Hydra. Well, first I got to shout out my play group or my team.
Sure.
Bert, Ralph, Pat, Hector, Sebastian, and Rob. We talked a lot about this format and what mains were viable and what mains weren't. So I kind of being the newer guy in the group, I just kind of put a short list together of all of the female mains that I thought were viable. And to be honest, Madam Hydra was the one that I was interested in the most. I used to play the old versus game, and she reminds me a lot of that reservist keyword from that game. So just felt cool being able to play cards from my resource row with Secret Empire. And, after just talking with the team and testing, I felt pretty confident in the build that I had, but I wasn't expecting to see Lady Death, that's for sure.
And then when you played the Dark Phoenix the first time, you were assuming that the counters or the bump on death were counters. Is that why you call it counters?
Yeah, that's a misplay on my part. I need to learn how to read cards properly for not understanding the English language properly.
That's fine.
But yeah, I figured once I dropped that DP and they weren't +1s, they weren't counters, they were just static +1s. I was like, okay, well, there's only one other way. And then I mistakenly called keywords. Well, not mistakenly, but that turn I resourced the reality gem, and then I called keywords. So if I reality gem in my hand, I had a Gehenna. I could have, used a superpower to, to push for another wound, but not being able to get around DP is what kind of did me in the end.
We were curious when we were going to see Dark Phoenix. We weren't sure if you had lost them all, how many you had in your deck, and whether you lost them all with all the discarding you were doing. Very rarely do you see somebody go through their entire deck. How long did you have that Dark Phoenix?
It's actually funny you bring that up. When he resolved that first Supergiant, and where I discarded 13 cards, one of the cards I discarded was a Dark Phoenix, but then the 14 cards I drew got me another one, and I already had 2 in resource. So I went through all 4 of my DPs that game.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, I hope he put one in the row because you're Madam Hydra. It's more safe in the row than it is in your hand. So that was great to see.
Yeah, I had a DP opening hand and I just kept it, and I was like, this is my turn 1 mana. It's just gonna go down there. And then I ended up resource rowing another one, and then I drew into my third and final one after the Supergiant. So I felt comfortable, like I felt okay, but I just wasn't sure what Lady Death like what she does. So that's my fault for not being, studied up on the cards.
That's fine. That's fine. We're all learning. These games are just really for fun. So appreciate you taking the time and having some fun with us. David, why Death?
Well, Death you can't play in a lot of the formats because all the format usually require a lot of teams, good or evil, and she don't fall into any of that.
Sure.
So you don't really have many opportunity breakouts. And I do like the way Death plays.
Now, did you build an entire deck without superpowers?
I actually only have 4 equipment and the rest are support characters. I have no plot twists. I have no locations.
That's incredible.
And that could potentially play really strongly into Death herself, like just packing in as many characters as possible just to get her as big as you can. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that kind of was the goal. So so I could power up my low cost because I had like 4 almost each character. I had 8 daggers in the deck, so I could just power up. Hopefully, if I couldn't get cards into the discard fast enough.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. I haven't seen that yet. Do appreciate you guys coming out, taking the time. Good luck to both of you in round 6. For those of you in the chat, we've got round 6 next week. We'll let everybody know what day and time that'll be. The playmats are awesome. Really loving the one on David's side over there. For those of you who didn't hear earlier, that's actually one of our new playmats that we've got out on the upperdeckstore.com or at your local retailers. We also have some new Spider-Man sleeves. Next month, we'll be releasing our Thanos, and then the month after that will be Wolverine. We've got some cool stuff coming out. These are non-game specific, so you can actually use these for any game you want. The sleeves themselves are packs of 65, so they can fit most decks, and they actually have that matte finish on them, so they're perfect for streaming or Skype games, especially since we're all at home having the worst staycation ever. Again, thank you guys very much for taking the time. Thank you, chat, for coming out and hanging with us. Thank you, Caleb, for setting up the Quarantine Cup. You want to let everybody know where to find C-Stacks?
Yeah, you guys can find me on YouTube. It's C_stacks. You'll find me. I got a bunch of Versus content, coverage of the Quarantine Cup, box openings of the new sets, and all that good stuff. So check me out on YouTube.
And one more thing, today was the first day that we released the new card previews for the first Family Story arc. So head over to upperdeckblog.com, check out, I believe we did about 7 to 9 cards. Lots of content we're going to be coming out in the next couple of weeks. So keep an eye out on that, and we will catch everybody next week. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Good game.